Welcome, Gflip.
Hello, what's going on?
Your current single, I'm Not Afraid, tackles these topics of empowerment, self-empowerment, and tackling challenges head on.
Yes.
Were there any experiences in particular that inspired that?
Yeah, I feel like I didn't write the song about one specific incident in my life. I wrote it about multiple situations that I've had to overcome. And the only way to get through those situations was to say, I'm not afraid to do this. Some examples are, going solo. I was always a drummer in bands for years, and I was almost too shy to show people my music and my songs and my songwriting. So that was something I had to be not afraid of and to just do it. I think also, I guess, coming out to my friends and family was another one. And then getting out of toxic relationships I've had over the years. I think all of these situations that I've gone through in life inspired this song, and there's elements of the song that, were definitely written as part of, I guess, a therapeutic way of getting over these situations and looking back on them. So, yeah, that's the inspiration behind I'm Not Afraid.
Very cool. An anthem to being in your own corner.
Yeah, it's full of themes of self-empowerment and, combating things on your own. And I've got so many lovely messages from people who've related to the song, which is so nice as a songwriter. So, yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, people should know you are not just a singer, songwriter, producer, drummer, but you're also a multi-instrumentalist. You're like a one-woman band music-making machine.
Yeah, I guess.
Your experience touring as a drummer, also in the States, you went on tour with the rock band Emperor, yeah?
Yeah.
So,
a few years ago.
Are there any, what's the craziest tour story from your time as being a drummer in a rock band on the road?
I got some pretty bad tattoos on the road while I was having a few too many beers. My hair's lit on fire, and you can kind of see long side, short side. So this is the part that lit on fire. So that went up in flames.
Good.
A lot of things have happened on the road. A lot of crazy stories. But yeah, probably I got a really bad tattoo on my ankle of a restaurant. I was drunk and went into a restaurant, and in the menu it said, "Get our logo tattooed, and we'll do it for free." So I was a little bit drunk, and I thought that was a great idea at the time. Not so much anymore, though.
As you do.
Yeah. So I'm left with a logo from a Texas restaurant on my ankle. I can even show you. Can you see that?
Legendary.
Yes.
Amazing.
On me forever.
Cowboy vibes.
Yeah, it's like a boot, beer, cowboy kind of stamp.
That's a good tattoo, though. I feel like you can own that one.
I can own it because it's got a fun story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have a favorite song of all time to play on drums?
I remember as a kid I played a lot of Travis Barker, Blink-182.
Ah, yeah.
I also... a lot of Dave Grohl stuff, like Foo Fighters, like Everlong, doing the 16ths on the Hats. And what else? Then I went through like a jazz period where I was like playing a lot of like Buddy Rich inspired drum stuff. But I think it always changes for me. There'll always be a song that I'll listen to on the radio or wherever, and then I'll be like, I should chuck that on my like drum playlist so when I'm practicing I can just like jam out to it.
So cool. And you built like this audio-visual LED interactive drum kit.
Yes.
In honor of your drum teacher, Jenny Rose Morrish.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful tribute.
Yeah.
But how does one go about building an LED drum? Like, how do you even do that?
Yeah, I think I had this idea in my brain for quite some time, and then I was going to do anything I could to execute it. So it took like a year, or maybe like 8 months to a year, researching how I was going to do it. And then I found in China they were selling like a circular high resolution LED screen, which they'd use for like signage and for advertisement of like a circular logo, say like Mercedes-Benz. They'd have at the big showroom like a circular LED with the Mercedes-Benz symbol flying around. So yeah, I found like an exposed plate of LEDs, which was the perfect size of 21 inches, which would fit within my 22-inch kick drum, my bass drum. So then I got that shipped from China, and then I figured out a way to allow it to get airflow, because if you like lock it in a drum kit, it's going to overheat. So then I worked out an airflow system, and I hot glue gunned 2 12-volt fans to it, and I built this crazy futuristic alive drum kit. It's really hard to visualize and explain, but basically what it looks like is when you see my drum kit, instead of seeing the band name on the front, it's a little emoji that's alive, and he moves and he reacts and he winks at you and stuff.
And he's become sort of a character in your lyric music videos.
Yes.
Beautifully brought to life. I think you're always working with this animation studio.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's almost like taking on a life of his own or its own. So if you could go like full on Tony Stark, I mean, you've already kind of like Tony Starked this whole situation, but if you could like go full on and give it artificial intelligence, would you?
I 100% would. For sure. I think always as a kid and growing up, I was alone with my drum kit a lot, and I was in my room a lot, just me and my drum kit. And you know how you talk to dogs and you talk to pets, like, hey, mate, or hey, little dude, you hungry? Like, you talk to your dog, you want to go for a walk? I would kind of do that with my drum kit growing up, and I always wanted my drum kit to talk back to me. And I kind of have that relationship with my drum kit. It's like my pet dog. Like, it's my little buddy. So I would totally give it a lot of AI work.
And you don't even have to buy dog food. It's perfect.
I know.
Yeah.
I just have to play it to feed its rhythm hunger.
Yes. While you were working on your music, you also were giving drum and guitar lessons to sort of keep the money flowing. I'm wondering, are there any specific techniques or things you would tell these kids to sort of motivate and encourage them?
I loved being a teacher. It was very fun and very rewarding, and I'm still in touch with a lot of my students, and I taught some of them for over 6 years. I think I wasn't like a stern teacher. I still made it fun. And I think it's really important when you're teaching a student, when they do something right, to really praise them so they feel encouraged to, practice and, rehearse the next part so they get that praise and that acknowledgement. So I made sure I applied that into my teaching the whole time. I also was very interested into what music they wanted to hear and they wanted to play. And then I would learn songs and teach them songs that they wanted to play. I remember when I was doing lessons when I was younger, having to play these really corny, crappy book songs and hating it. So I made sure I wasn't doing that.
Absolutely. There's nothing worse than you're 12 years old and your guitar teacher's like, here, play this pointless exercise until your fingers bleed. Yeah. Gotta have the little reward.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you co-produced your current single, I Am Not Afraid, with Ariel Rechtschied, who's worked with the Heim sisters.
Yes.
Pitchfork even said you sound like, or you can sound like all three of them at once.
Yes.
So the question, of course, is when are you going to collab with them?
I would love to collaborate with them. And I've been a massive fan of Heim for my entire life. I remember one time I missed out on tickets in my hometown, so I got a flight to the city 2 hours away so I could go see them. I've seen them at a festival, and I waited all day to be front and center at the mosh, and I even peed my pants twice because I did not want to lose that spot. And when I was working with Ariel, obviously I'm such a fan of his work as well as the Heim girls. When I was working with Ariel, there was a knock on the door, and then all of a sudden all three of the sisters came in, and I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm like, I'm smiling, but on the inside I was like losing it, like freaking out, screaming. But I was like, oh, hey, how are you? But really I was like freaking out. And it was a great moment. And I would love to collaborate with them or even support them on a tour.
Ah, so cool.
They're so cool.
So, you're on the road right now all over the world. You've been working in LA some, I think?
Yeah, I did a bit of work in LA last year.
Yeah. All of it very far from home in Australia.
Yes.
So when you are that far from your roots, is there anything about Australia that you particularly miss?
Most of all, I miss my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because she's back at home. And I miss my family, like my mum and dad and my sister and my friends. I think the people are what I miss most.
Yeah.
I don't miss the weather when it's winter in Australia. I like chasing the sun. So LA is great like that. But most of all, yeah, I miss the people, and I miss my girlfriend when she's not on the road with me because, you know, life becomes FaceTime dating all the time, which is a bit sucky. But
Long distance is tough.
long distance is tough. I just can't imagine what people did back in like before FaceTime and like in the 70s. Like imagine writing letters.
Yeah.
I'd just write her a letter and she wouldn't get it for like 2 weeks. Like messed up. Yeah.
Wow.
So we're very lucky to live in this day and age with FaceTime for sure.